Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's Wisteria here with another fairy tale. This is an American fairy tale. It is called The Mandarin and the Butterfly. A mandarin once lived in Qianghu who was so exceedingly cross and disagreeable that everyone hated him. He snarled and stormed at every person he met, and was never known to laugh or to be merry under any circumstances. He hated boys and girls especially, for they jeered and made fun of him. When he had become so unpopular that no one would speak to him, the emperor heard about it and commanded him to emigrate to America. This suited the Mandarin very well, but before he left China, he stole the great book of magic that belonged to the magician Heot Sai. Then, gathering up his money, especially his money, the whole store of it, he took ship for America. He settled in a city of the Middle West and started a laundry. One day, as the ugly, ignoring one, well, that was his name, was ironing in the basement of his shop, he looked up and saw a crowd of childish faces pressed against the window. He tried to drive them away, but as soon as he turned to his work, they were back at the window yet again, mischievously smiling down upon him. The Mandarin uttered horrid words in the Manchu language and made fierce gestures, but this did no good at all. The children stayed as long as they pleased, and they came again the very next day, as soon as school was over, and likewise the next day and the next, for they saw their presence at the window bothered the Chinaman, and were delighted accordingly. The following day being Sunday, the children did not appear. But as the Mandarin worked in his little shop, a big butterfly flew in at the open door and fluttered about the room. The Mandarin closed the door and chased the butterfly until he caught it. What he did with the butterfly is he pinned it right up against a wall by sticking 2 pins through its beautiful wings. This did not hurt the butterfly, there being no feeling in its wings, but it made him a safe prisoner. This butterfly was of large size, and its wings were exquisitely marked by gorgeous colours laid out in regular design, just like the stained glass windows of a cathedral. The Mandarin now opened his wooden chest and drew forth the great book of magic he had stolen from Heot Sai. Turning the pages slowly, he came to a passage describing how to understand the language of butterflies. This he read carefully, and then mixed a magic formula in a tin cup and drank it. He drank it straight down with a wry face. Immediately thereafter, he spoke to the butterfly in its own language. "You are my prisoner," said the Mandarin. "If I please, I can kill you or leave you on the wall to starve to death. But if you promise to obey me for a time, carry out my instructions, I will give you a long and pleasant life by means of powerful magic." "I promise," answered the butterfly, "for even as your slave, I will get some enjoyment out of life. Why should you kill me? That is the end of everything. Then listen. You know the children, do you not? Yes, I know them. They chase me and try to catch me, as you have done, replied the butterfly. They mock me and jeer at me through the window, continued the Mandarin. Therefore, they are your enemies and mine. But with your aid and the help of a magic book, we shall have a fine revenge for their insults. I don't care much for revenge, said the butterfly. They are but children, and it's natural. It's their way of doing things. They're just children. They catch me, or try to catch me, because I am such a beautiful creature. Nevertheless, I care, and you must obey me, retorted the Mandarin harshly. I at least will have my revenge. Then he stuck a drop of molasses upon the wall beside the butterfly's head and said, Eat that while I read my book and prepare my magic formula. So the butterfly feasted upon the molasses, and the Mandarin studied his book, after which he began to mix a magic compound in the tin cup. When the mixture was ready, he released the butterfly from the wall and said to it, I command you to dip your 2 front feet into this magic compound, and then fly away until you meet a child. Fly close, whether it be a boy or a girl, and touch the child upon its forehead with your feet. Whomsoever is thus touched, the book declares, will at once become a pig, and will remain such forever after. Then return to me, and dip your legs afresh in the contents of this cup. So shall all my enemies, the children, become miserable swine, while no one will think of accusing me of sorcery. Very well, since such is your command, I obey, said the butterfly. Then it dipped its front legs, which were the shortest of the 6, into the contents of the tin cup, flew out of the door and away over the houses to the edge of the town. There it alighted in a flower garden, and soon forgot all about its mission to turn children into swine. In going from flower to flower, it soon brushed the magic compound from its legs, so that when the sun began to set, and the butterfly finally remembered its master, the Mandarin, it could not have injured a child had it tried. But it did not intend to try. That horrid old Chinaman, in thought, hates children and wishes to destroy them. But I rather like children myself, and shall not harm them. Of course, I must return to my master, for he is a magician, and would seek me out and kill me. But I can deceive him. I can deceive him about this matter easily enough. When the butterfly flew in at the door of the Mandarin's place, the Chinaman was waiting eagerly and asked, Well, did you meet a child? I did, replied the butterfly. It was a pretty golden-haired girl, but now 'tis a grunting pig. Good, good, cried the Mandarin, dancing joyfully about the room. You shall have molasses for your supper, and tomorrow you must change 2 children into pigs. The butterfly did not reply, and it ate the molasses in silence. The next morning, by the Mandarin's command, the butterfly dipped its legs in the mixture and flew away in search of children. When it came to the edge of town, it noticed a pig in a sty, and, alighting upon the tail of the sty, it looked down at the creature and thought, if I could change a child into a pig by touching it with the magic compound, what could I change a pig into? Being curious to determine this fine point in sorcery, the butterfly flattened down and touched the front feet to the pig's nose. Instantly, The animal disappeared, and in its place was a shock-headed, dirty-looking boy, which sprang straight from the sty and ran down the road, uttering loud whoops. "That's funny," said the butterfly to itself. "The mandarin would be very angry with me if he knew of this, for I have liberated one of the creatures that bother him." Then it flew into a rose bush, where it remained comfortably until evening. At sundown it returned to his master. "Have you changed two of them into pigs?" he asked at once. "I have," lied the butterfly. "Oh, good, good," said the mandarin, in ecstasy of delight. "Change every child you meet into a pig." "Very well," answered the butterfly quietly, and ate the supper of molasses. Several days were passed by the butterfly in the same manner. It fluttered aimlessly about the flower gardens while the sun shone, and returned at night to the mandarin with false tales of turning children into swine. Sometimes it would be one child which was transformed. Other times it would be two, occasionally three. But the mandarin always greeted the butterfly's report with intense delight and gave him molasses for supper. One evening, however, the butterfly thought it might be well to vary the report, so the mandarin might not grow suspicious. And when its master asked what child had been changed into a pig that day, the lying creature answered, it was a Chinese boy. This angered the mandarin, who was in a especially cross mood. He spitefully snapped at the butterfly with his finger and nearly broke its beautiful wing, for he forgot that Chinese boys had once mocked him and only remembered his hatred for American boys. The butterfly became very indignant at this abuse from the mandarin. It refused to eat its molasses and sulked all evening, for it had grown to hate the mandarin as much as the mandarin hated children. When morning came, it was still trembling with indignation, but the mandarin cried out, "Make haste, miserable slave, for today you must change 4 children into pigs to make up for yesterday." The butterfly did not reply. His little black eyes were sparkling wickedly, and no sooner had he dipped his feet into the magic compound than he flew full into the mandarin's face and touched him upon his ugly flat forehead. Soon after, a gentleman came into the room for his laundry. The mandarin was not there, but running around the place was a repulsive, scrawny pig, which squealed most miserably. The butterfly flew away through the window to a brook and washed from its feet all traces of the magic compound. When night came, it slept in a rose bush, leaving the dreadful swine behind. The end. And that's the American tale of the Mandarin and the Butterfly. Most people when they hear Mandarin probably think, an orange type Mandarin rather than an actual Chinese Mandarin. But yeah, it's an interesting story. Thank you for listening. Please hit the like, share if you can, and if you've not yet subscribed, please consider doing so. Thank you very much for listening, and many blessings.